Hi, I'm Miki.
I'm Nathan.
I'm Matt.
I'm Dwight.
And this is the Mish Mash Entertainment Podcast. We have Dwight here, who is replacing DJ this time.
Hello.
Dwight is new on our podcast, and we're not sure exactly how he got into all of this sort of nerd or geek culture, or whatever you want to call it. So, Dwight, how did you get into all this?
I first got into it when I was younger. I was introduced to gaming, and when I was maybe like 4 or 5, I was given an N64, and I just gamed constantly every day. Everyone in my neighborhood had an N64. We'd all gather together, play N64 together and all that. And ever since, I've been getting the new consoles that have been coming out. I have quite a collection, actually. And yeah.
And 64 was good stuff.
And
it kind of shows my age that when I was 4 or 5, my grandfather got me an NES. And that's what I played every day.
Yeah. The NES was my first system as well, but that's more because that's just what my parents had. They didn't.
Right.
The Sega Genesis was already out. The Super Nintendo was already out when I was that age. But so I take it you're mostly just a gamer in terms of nerd culture?
Practically, but I'm getting into anime now. Like a little while ago, I put out a post for people to give me suggestions. They were coming in like crazy.
Awesome. That's like the best way to find out stuff. Yeah.
Is there any... I'm not really a big anime fan, but is there anything that's really stood out to you that you liked watching? Or
The only anime that I really watched was Spirited Away.
Oh, that's a good one.
I really enjoyed that.
Ghibli or Ghibli or however you pronounce it. I'm not the anime guy. I'm sorry, internet. They're generally just very good films. They're good family
they're great
films.
Yeah.
I love, oh God, the Wolf Lady one.
The Wolf, Princess Mononoke?
Princess Mononoke. I hate myself for not remembering that. I own that movie. It's
one
of the few movies I own.
That one.
That's okay. I actually only saw it like a year and a half ago.
It's really good. It's really good. It's a bit slow as Ghibli films tend to be. I'm just gonna go with Ghibli. Fuck you guys.
Sure.
That's okay. I say Ghibli too.
Yeah, internet will go crazy about how you
care.
pronounce things. You can never be right. Everyone says it differently. So,
what I've been told a lot of the times is a good starter anime is Death Note. I don't know if I agree. It was one of the first ones I watched, and I enjoyed it, and I could see that. But one of the first anime I watched, other than a little bit of Dragon Ball Z in high school, was Full Metal Alchemist, and then Brotherhood afterwards, and I still really like that, actually.
Yeah, I remember when I was getting into anime, one of the first ones that I watched was Full Metal Alchemist.
Yeah.
But I also remember starting it off, and it was really great, and I was really into it, but it was 72 episodes or something like that. So by like 3/4 of the way through, I had been watching a lot of other stuff too, and I was like, this isn't as good as I thought it was. And it kind of just went downhill, and by the end of it I was like, okay, I just want to get this over with. I don't want to have watched 70 episodes out of 72 or something ridiculous like that. It was still a good series, but it wasn't as good as I had hoped it would be.
Did you watch Brotherhood afterwards?
I did not watch Brotherhood.
Okay.
I watched the first couple of episodes, but...
Well, I liked Brotherhood, and it took me a little while to realize it, because the first, 15-ish episodes of Brotherhood kind of overlap a lot with the original Full Metal
I
Alchemist.
definitely watched less than 15
and
episodes.
after around 15, it starts to diverge and actually follow the manga, which I haven't actually read. But I like Brotherhood a lot better for a couple of reasons. Roy Mustang is way more of a badass. Alphonse is more useful, I find. And just in general, I don't know, the story is more interesting.
Okay, I don't really remember much about Full Metal Alchemist now. It's probably been 15 years.
Yeah. You could probably go back, watch Brotherhood, and then the first 15 episodes would probably jog your memory a little bit.
Oh, probably. I 100% agree with that.
Yeah, I never really got through Full Metal Alchemist either, but again, I remember watching a lot of anime when I was younger, and it was kind of what you were talking about, Full Metal Alchemist, is eventually I was like, a lot of this stuff isn't as good as I thought it was, and I just kind of drifted away from it. Of course, that's that. I don't know. I got really fed up with the super heavy fan service stuff. It started getting under my skin, particularly as I was getting towards the end of high school, and it was focusing on young kids, and I was getting creeped out by it.
It's a little creepy.
It is.
Yeah, a lot of the animes that go around, they focus on either kids in middle school or kids in high school. And you're okay, getting kind of old for kids in middle school.
Yeah.
But I mean, the stories are still good. But
Yeah.
it's kind of getting hard to relate here.
Yeah. I mean, to each their own. It's just, it skeeved me out enough. About the time I got out of anime was around the time it's called To Love Ru or You or something like that. And that
To
was
Love Ru.
that was kind of my like breaking point of like, what the fuck is this and why is this popular? Like it was always like popping up the top of like the websites I'd watch for anime that was like top anime or whatever. And I was like, all right, I'm a little bit done, but that's just me. There's a lot of other good anime. I've seen other stuff here and there that I liked, but that's when I stopped. Like I used to watch a lot of what came out every year.
Yeah, I do that. I used to do that, like watch everything that came out each season. I'd pick everything that I was interested in, and I'd make myself a weekly schedule, what came out what day and what time, so I could watch it all. I haven't done that in a couple of years now, but...
Yeah, but even now it's gotten to the point where even the popular stuff, like I didn't get into Attack on Titan, I didn't get into Sword Art Online.
I can't say I really got into Attack on Titan. I did watch it all, and I read a good amount of the manga, and I cosplayed one of the characters, but at the same time, I just really liked that one character, and that was about it.
Yeah.
And then with Sword Art Online, I was like, I don't really care about this. I hadn't even seen it. And then I finally, like, watched it because I was home from school one day, and, like, I had the whole day off, and I was like, well, I'm really bored. So I'm just going to watch the first 8 episodes. And I got immediately addicted, and then I started reading the light novels and all this, and it was pretty good. But the hype, it's not what it's hyped up to be, honestly.
Yeah, one of my friends got me to watch the entire thing over the course of a day, and the entire time I was like, it's fine, but I don't care. Nothing ever hooked me in and made me want to continue watching, unfortunately.
My brother tried to get me to watch Sword Art Online, but yeah, it never really didn't stick with me. It seemed almost a little too it was a little meta, right? Like it was, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And then I watched another one that I actually liked a little better. That was kind of the same idea called.
Was it Log Horizon?
No, it was Danmachi.
Oh, okay.
Or the alternate title is it wrong to try to pick up girls in a dungeon?
Oh,
or something?
I watched that one. Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah, and basically, it's funny because it's like basically there is this tower, this dungeon, and the characters are they're climbing and seeing how far up they can go, and they level up, and they literally are aware of them leveling up and gaining stats, and it's kind of bizarre, but it was pretty good. And it was I think it was short. It was only like 20-ish episodes or something.
Yeah, something like that.
And that was it. Although there might be another season, but. It was pretty good. I
thought there was only one season, but I also thought that the ending was kind of disappointing and kind of...
Right, that's why I thought there was going to be a second season. I Googled it and I found all these sites saying season 2 coming, but you never know. They can't really trust that.
I remember one year somebody made this fake list of animes coming for the season. And it was like, it consisted of mostly season 2 of a lot of really popular stuff that was never going to get a season 2. And everybody was super hyped. And then somebody was like, this is fake. And that's when everybody started to realize, like, oh, that sucks. These are all fake. This isn't happening. And everybody got really sad. But sometimes it still pops up every once in a while, things like that. And it's like, oh, look, season 2. And it's like, no, it's not going to happen. It's fake.
It's not anime, but it keeps happening with Dr. Horrible's sing-along blog. I love that show. And there's like, it's in production. Like, I heard that like 2 years ago. It's like, it's not in production. They've been saying that since it ended. Rumors pop up about it being in production. But.
And I know that happens with a lot of books, too. I was like super obsessed with this book series, Artemis Fowl, in grade 6. I don't know if you guys would know that.
I haven't read it. I've heard of it.
I haven't even heard of it.
It was a pretty good book series. It's mostly for the younger kids, but it's like still a novel, and it's like 8 or 9 novels. But it was supposed to get a movie 6 years ago. And they were like, oh, we have the script, we're picking out the cast, and then a year later they were like, okay, well, our main cast outgrew their character, so... Yeah, and it never happened. It's never going to happen. It still says it's in production. They have directors and so on and so forth. It's not going to happen. I've given up hope.
Yeah, that happens sometimes with movies. They get stuck in production hell and they just vanish.
Right.
Happens with video games as well. I mean, there is... it happened to Duke Nukem, and that was not a great video game when it came out.
Forever came out. Although, I must say it's not as bad as I think a lot of people think. I think it's that enormous amount of hype means it could never really probably live up to what people are expecting.
Yeah,
I played through it. It wasn't terrible.
It wasn't awful, but it also wasn't good.
It wasn't great.
I think a lot of people, the problem is they were expecting that kind of experience they got when they played Duke Nukem the first time. I don't know if did you ever play Duke Nukem?
Not Duke Nukem, no.
No, yeah. Well, people played it when they were younger, and it was like funny because it was raunchy and all this other stuff. You could throw money at strippers and they'd flash you their tits. But when you're older, that stuff isn't as appealing or shocking, and you don't tend to laugh at it quite as much. So I think that was a lot of the problem. Like, Duke Nukem was a very immature game. Like, it was. I think you could like pick poop out of a toilet and throw it. Maybe that's another game I'm thinking.
No, I
of.
think you're thinking of something else.
Yeah.
But yeah, you could
Okay.
go up to a toilet and you could flush it, and there's all this.
Yeah.
You go up to there's a pinball based on Duke Nukem, and you go up to it and you hit the interact button. It's like, don't have time to play with myself.
Yeah.
And then me, like when I was in like junior high when it came out, so my friends and I would just like quote the game and stuff. And actually, there were 2 Duke Nukem games before that. Duke Nukem 3, that was Duke Nukem 3D, and there were 2 side scrollers.
Yeah.
Duke Nukem that weren't really like that.
Yeah.
They were just kind of normal side scrollers mostly, and then 3D came out, and there hadn't been a lot of games like that. And I think that's another thing too. Is
Yeah.
that nowadays there's tons of potentially raunchy games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's also just because the audience for it grew up, and they were just kind of like,
Yeah,
well, this
that too.
doesn't really do it for me the same way it would have when I was, 12, 13, whatever.
Right.
So, what games are you guys playing right now? Like, we're just talking about games, so.
All right, a couple games I'm playing right now. Borderlands. Just got into that. My buddy forced me to buy it.
Yeah.
Which one are you? Did you start from the beginning?
I'm playing Borderlands 2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I like Borderlands 2 a lot.
Yeah. I'm liking it so far, getting into it. My friend keeps rubbing it in my face that he has like all these weapons that I don't have, and
Yeah.
it sucks.
There's like something like millions of weapon combinations in that game
Yeah.
because it's like a randomized kind of loot system.
Yes, but a lot of the time, the difference between the weapon is like it does a different elemental type of damage.
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
something very minor like that. So, kind of stretching it. I love the Borderlands series. I played 1 and 2. I didn't play. I think it's called the prequel.
Pre-sequel.
Pre-sequel.
Yeah,
Okay.
I started. It's pretty good, mostly because Handsome Jack is in it.
Okay. Yeah.
I really like him.
I've heard he's a good character, but at the same time, people hate him.
He's a
Yeah.
wonderful villain, especially in Borderlands 2. Like he's funny and he's like cruel and evil, but I don't know. I loved every time you heard him talk.
Butt stallion. That's all I have to say. His horse made of diamonds. A living horse made of diamonds. That you never see, which was kind of disappointing. I was kind of hoping it would be a boss at some point.
Maybe it's just like, how your friend has that girlfriend they always talk about. You never met her. She doesn't exist. That horse doesn't exist.
There's no horse. Yeah.
So, Dwight, you playing anything else?
That's pretty much it, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a pretty
sad,
big
though.
game to play.
Yeah.
It is, yeah. I replayed The Last of Us since the last time we managed to record a podcast.
Right, we talked about that. Yeah.
Yeah, because I heard you talking. I was like, "God, I have that game. I got to play it again. So I did. Still great. Still amazing. Still love it.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, I've been playing Civilization 6 again, and I'm
Nice.
going through The Witcher 3, because for whatever reason, the first time I played The Witcher 3, it was on PS4, and then I stopped right near the end, because it was on sale on PC, and I bought it on PC, and I wanted to play it there. I also had all the DLC, which I didn't have on PlayStation, and then I just never picked it back up again, so I'm slowly working my way through the story again, so I can play the DLC with my own character rather than whatever happened. I assume you just get a bunch of levels up, and then you do whatever, but
Yeah.
actually I want to play the game again.
I've heard wonderful things with the DLC. I haven't played it because I played the base game. I loved it. I almost got everything. And then I broke up with my girlfriend, and she kept the Xbox, and that's why I was saving it. So I never got to play the DLC. So annoying.
Shitty.
So I'm waiting to see the whole thing on sale right now,
Yeah.
so I can just kind of pick it all up.
Summer sale.
Yeah, it's coming
Yeah, it'll
up.
come
Summer
out.
sale's coming up.
Yeah.
What else did you say? Civilization 6?
Yeah.
Good stuff.
I still have some problems with Civ 6. I hate not having my skip button on a hotkey, and there's no way to put skip units turn on a hotkey or put them to sleep. You have to move your mouse to the corner of the screen and tell it to sleep. It just annoys me.
That's irritating.
Yeah.
You can't map it to any button or
No,
anything.
you can't.
Wow.
Either that or I'm
that's-
an idiot. That is entirely possible.
That's so annoying. I know
haven't
when
really
I was
tried
playing
it.
Sims a while ago, I was kind of annoyed because I didn't want to click, fast forward, click, pause, click, whatever. So I mapped them to all the buttons on my mouse because I have
Yeah.
a Razer Hex whatever. So it's got 6 buttons on the side. So I just mapped them to all of those and all the different buttons you could button combinations shift, space or something ridiculous like that. I don't even remember what I was doing, but I mapped them all to my mouse because I was too lazy to push them.
Yeah.
So I can imagine how annoying that would be.
And it's not too bad early game, but once you get into the late game, if you're playing on a large map with 8 AIs and you have 30 cities and 80 units, not really, that's kind of extreme. You start burning down things eventually because you run out of luxuries to keep your people happy.
Right. Yeah, I found I bought Civ 6 right after launch, and I found early it was very buggy. I stopped playing it for a while.
I actually never encountered any bugs. I
Really?
bought it day of launch.
Okay.
But
Weird.
I mean,
Yeah,
that's
people
the
have
nature
different
of bugs.
experiences, but I found it would sometimes just crash. One time I had put about 5 or 6 hours into a save game. It crashed, and the save game disappeared. That
You
was
should be able to
frustrating.
get autosave,
Oh, no.
your autosave back, but it's under a different tab. And it
Oh,
usually
okay.
autosaves every, 5 turns.
Maybe I didn't notice that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
And then I stopped for a while. I came back, and it's better.
Yes.
My biggest complaint right now, though, is that I have a friend who only has a Mac. He has a MacBook.
Yeah.
And we used to play Civ 5 all the time because there's
Yeah.
cross-platform. And they've been saying in Civ 6 they're going to add cross-platform for a while. And they're like, oh, it's coming in this big update. And they're like, oh, sorry, we didn't get to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, my friend just bought a new gaming PC yesterday. Well, he bought the parts and we went and helped him put it together. So
Nice.
that probably... Now that he's done that, I imagine it's probably going to... Crossplay going to come next week or something. So.
Probably. Yeah. Yeah.
Just for the convenience.
Yeah,
At
of
the
course.
very least, he wouldn't need a beefy PC if all he wants to do is play Civ 6. It's not
Right, exactly. He has lots of other things.
Okay.
Like I told him he needs to play the Doom game from last year on ultra settings because it looks amazing.
That's another game I need to put on my list of games to play once
so
I have
good.
money.
It's getting cheap now, and it's on sale. I guarantee the summer sale will probably go at least half off.
If I pick anything up on the summer sale, it's going to be one super cheap game. I've got nothing right now.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
poor. It's unfortunate,
Yeah,
but
I just picked up the Humble Bundle for the month. It was all the visual novels, the Sekai Project one. So I just picked up 15 different games for $16, something like that. So I can't, if I buy anything on the summer sale, I should just hit myself or something because that's dumb. And I have so many games to play through. It's going to take me at least 50 hours to get through everything that I bought during this bundle. Mind you, I still have games that I bought during the last summer sale
Yeah.
that I haven't even touched because my computer can't handle them.
Oh.
I have a couple of games. I have The Witness, The Vanishing of Ethan Carter, and I have another one. I can't remember what it's called, but it's a similar sort of puzzle game. But my computer can run The Witness, but at the lowest settings possible. And I tried to run The Vanishing of Ethan Carter, and it started the game, and then it kind of jumped around, and I couldn't see where I was going, and it was so bad. I had to Control-Alt-Delete and end the task to close the game. It was so bad.
Here I am sitting with my gaming computer playing Witcher 3 on not ultra high, but high settings. And being
Yeah, I'm getting a new computer soon, so hopefully I'll be able to play these games.
yeah.
But until then, I'll just have to cry a little bit. And
Yeah.
They're not even installed on my computer anymore.
I just got a PC myself recently that I put together myself.
Cool.
Nice.
Yeah, looking forward to becoming Master Race,
It's a good
PC
feeling,
Master
building
Race.
yourself. It's frustrating sometimes, but I
Yeah.
love it.
I watched a video from Rooster Teeth. It was Bernie and his son Teddy. I don't know if you guys have seen this video. It's kind of old now. But it was his son, who was 12, 13 at the time maybe. He's pretty into gaming. Plays a lot of video games. Plays more than I do, honestly. And his dad, Bernie, had bought all of the things for him to make a really nice gaming PC. And this kid just put it all together. He showed the video of the whole thing. It looked like it didn't take them more than an hour and a half, 2 hours tops. And he knew exactly where everything went. He did everything by himself.
Awesome.
It was insane. I was like, man, that looks like so much work. But at the same time, if he can do it, I could probably do that. But now thinking about it, I don't think I trust myself to do that.
It's really not a whole lot of work. I didn't buy buy all the parts individually this time because there's a sale on I think it's NCIX
Yeah.
computer thing, and it was cheap, and they also installed a water cooling system for me, which I don't trust myself to do. The only problem is I accidentally clicked the i5 into the i7 processor, so my computer's not as good as I wanted it to be. It makes me real sad. I didn't realize until I got it, and I was looking at it, and I was looking at the specs, actually on the computer itself, and it said i5 processor. Like, no.
A lot of people say that the newer i5s are as good as you need for gaming.
Yeah.
And I've told that i7s are really good for video processing and that kind of heavy stuff.
Yeah, well, one of the things I wanted to get into, I don't know if I'll ever actually do it. I wanted to get into streaming, although I don't
Right.
know. I'm kind of a quiet person normally. I don't talk a whole lot, so I don't actually know if I could carry a stream by myself, but that was something I was looking to getting into.
Right.
I realized I'd never get famous, but it'd just be something fun to do. I play video games anyways. I might as well try to get money for
From
it.
my one experience streaming, I did it for Extra Life. It was a horrible idea. Never do a 25-hour stream. First stream.
Nice.
Don't do it. It's a bad idea. Anyways, I streamed with a friend because I knew that I would never be able to do the whole thing by myself, and I knew that I was going to get bored.
Yeah.
So I had her do it with me, and she streams. She kind of streams. She just streams League of Legends, so we didn't really have much experience between the two of us streaming.
Yeah.
But it definitely... It went a lot better than expected, but you definitely kind of need somebody there with you to talk to, unless you have, like, you know, good people in your chat that you can talk to. But if you're starting out, chances are there's maybe 3 people in that chat, and you might know 2 of them.
Yeah.
A lot of the people that become really good streamers, I find, they're really good at multitasking. So they're playing the game, but they're also really good at paying attention to the chats and responding to people in time. I think people kind of like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when I did it, I found that we had 2 monitors set up just for convenience, and that's usually what she has anyways. But I found that it's almost a necessity when you're streaming, because you have the game on one screen, and then you have Twitch on the other screen, so you can see your chat, what they're doing, how it's going, but you can also see your game full on the other monitor.
Yeah, you need 2 screens really to stream. Otherwise, you're either playing in a windowed screen that's small and kind of not great to play in, or you're alt-tabbing out of your game, which also messes with the recording. So,
not only would it mess with the recording, but most games, if you go out of the game or you click off the screen, it'll just, like, stop the background music and pause the game altogether, which would be incredibly distracting and annoying for anybody watching.
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh, we talked about the Duke Nukem games earlier. What were we talking about around that time? Games that we think that were really good, but now we look back at them and we thought that they were going to have sequels and that would be great, but then thinking about it, didn't really seem like a good idea.
Well, I've got a series that keeps getting sequels and should probably stop, even though I loved it when I was younger. Dynasty Warriors. I love those games. I still enjoy playing them, but they just keep making shittier and cheaper ports. Like, I think the last one had no voice acting whatsoever for English. It was all just the Japanese voice acting. You could only get it subtitles.
Which one was that? Was it 8?
The most recent one, probably 8,
yeah. Because I have 8. I know we have 8 Empires, and I honestly don't even remember what language the voices are in now that I'm thinking about it.
Yeah.
Although I do really like the Empires games, but I think 5 and 6 were my favorite.
Yes, I was a big fan of, I think... either 4 Empire or 5 Empires. I started with Dynasty Warriors for the main game. I think I got 4 Extreme Warriors and then 5 Empires probably, something like that. And that was a lot of fun because you get to customize your own team and, you know, you build your own.
Yeah, I really
officer
liked that
roster.
idea of empires, and then you also got to take over China, which was pretty cool in my opinion.
Yeah.
Taking over a whole country, you know?
Yeah, it's just one of those things where I don't feel like there's any reason to actually keep making sequels because there's not really adding anything to the gameplay. Like, the gameplay is more or less unchanged, except it's become more simplified.
I know they were talking about coming out with another Dynasty Warriors game that was, like, sort of a spin-off, like how they've had Gundam Warriors and all of those weird things. I can't remember what it was now. I want to say that it was Pokemon, but that's not right.
There is one made in the same style from the Berserk anime manga. It's called Berserk and the Band of the Hawk, which I have a problem with that name because it's not actually the main character's name. His main character, his name is Guts, but they call it Berserk and the Band of the Hawk because that's the mercenary group he joins. Yeah. So they title it as almost as if his name is Berserk. It's bizarre. But anyway, it's like a Dynasty Warrior game, but you play as the characters from Berserk, which I haven't played Dynasty Warriors in forever, but I actually will probably pick that up.
Yeah, there's a lot of Dynasty Warrior-esque games. They've got a Zelda one. They've got One Piece.
Yes.
One Piece Pirate Warriors or whatever. That's the same thing. I think they have like even a. Did they release like a Dragon Quest game that was like that? I can't remember.
Think so. They have Dragon Quest Heroes, but I don't think it's like. I don't know. I haven't actually played it because it's only for PlayStation. I don't have PlayStation.
I think it was Heroes, but I could be wrong. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I remember there's something weird about Dragon Quest, and for some reason my brain's going to Dynasty Warriors, and it's probably not.
I for one would love to see a one-punch Dynasty Warriors type game.
Yeah.
You just can't die. You kill every boss in one hit.
That'd be so boring so quick. So boring so quick. That's the thing. Like it's the same thing with like when you cheat with like GTA and you make yourself basically invincible. Eventually you just get bored. You get bored in like 10, 15 minutes. I do at least.
Yeah.
So there's got to be some challenge to keep you playing the game.
Or like I used to play Roller Coaster Tycoon all the time.
Yeah.
But only in sandbox mode.
Okay.
But then you get bored so quickly because you just have all of the stuff and you have no goals or anything.
Yeah.
I did eventually play like one of the regular story modes, which is a lot more interesting, but at the same time,
Yeah.
I don't have the patience to earn all of my things.
Yeah. No, I've never been able to do things like that. Like Minecraft with like creative mode. I never got into that because there's no challenge to it. You just choose your block and you build and then you look at it. And I'm just like, I don't really play Minecraft anymore anyway. I haven't for a couple of years, but I think my twin brother used to play creative Minecraft, and I never understood it. Like it makes no sense to me. There's no challenge.
I used to only really play Minecraft on creative just because I like to build things like, cool houses or things to play games through or whatever, but I eventually got pretty bored of that.
Yeah.
But I know Achievement Hunter's been playing it, not so much recently, but they did put one out recently. A Sky Factory.
Yeah.
It's like you start on a tree, which is on one block of dirt, and you have to build off your world from that. And it was surprisingly a lot more fun, and it wasn't as frustrating as I thought, and I did not die near as much as I thought I would either, which is great.
It helps when you don't have people digging the wood out from underneath you and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, it happened in one of the videos. But yeah, it's I actually did go back, and once they first started that, and I started my own Sky Factory thing.
I did
but
too.
Honestly, for that, I need people with me. Otherwise, I just get bored of the tedium of waiting for things. At least this one, you can crouch next to the tree to make it grow faster. The original Sky blocks, you didn't have that. It was vanilla Minecraft where they just generated a world that was like a tiny dirt block, and you'd make lava generators in game because it'd give you a bucket of lava and a bucket of water. If you destroyed your lava block with your water and you didn't set it up properly, you just had to stop and restart.
Oh my
just
god,
over.
that would be so easy.
So, yeah.
I've screwed up so many times in my Sky Factory. I just had to like stop, tear everything down, figure it out, and restart again. But yeah, it would totally be a lot more fun with other people. But at the same time, that game also takes like 20 minutes to start.
Yeah.
Or at least for me, it does.
Yeah, I can imagine with your PC it would. Yeah, takes like half a minute, if that, on mine.
Oh, that's disappointing. Yeah, it took me like a solid 20 minutes to start it up the first time. It was horrible.
Solid state hard drive with a good computer. Yeah.
Okay, well, maybe my new computer will improve on my loading time for Sky Factory.
I honestly would recommend getting a small solid state hard drive, like 250 gigs or whatever.
Yeah, at least enough for your OS in a couple games or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
It still occasionally blows my mind that I didn't get a computer until the year 2000, but the storage space that we have now on computers, I remember the first computer I had was 6 gigabytes that was shared with my family for storage space. So it's just saying a small 250 gigabyte hard drive is weird.
Well, I remember at school, the computers that we each had our own sort of space to save things to, but we had a very limited amount of space. And I remember I had a bunch of like computer classes. I had like what they call it, communications technology. I don't know. We did a lot of Photoshop stuff. And we had to save it, come back to it the next day, sort of thing. And one time I went to save my thing, and it wouldn't save. It said that we ran out of space, and I was like, what do you mean I ran out of space? I have like 4 things saved on here. So I had to go in and delete some things, and then I saved my project, and I went back and I looked at it, and we had less than a gig of space to save all of our stuff for the entire year on this computer, and I was like, man, that is not a lot of space. But like thinking back to it, that used to be quite a bit of space.
Yeah. I still sometimes get caught off guard by the size of games because for whatever reason, I'm still stuck in the mindset of like PlayStation 1 era games. They're like a gigabyte was a huge game. So I remember years ago I installed Titanfall and it had that like, was it an 80 gig sound file or was it 20 gigs? Something like that.
God.
It was huge, I remember, yeah.
Yeah, it was multiple gigs of just the sound files.
That's insane.
And yeah.
Well, now they put games on sort of like Blu-ray discs now for consoles, so that sort of makes it seem the same size because they're on the same looking kind of disc, but they're like 80 times
moved
bigger.
From CD to DVD for the PlayStation 1 to PlayStation 2. Yeah, because apparently PlayStation 2 is a lot of people's first like DVD player. That's what pushed the PS2 to be the best-selling console of all time.
Yeah, so. I can't say I had a DVD player. I just had the PlayStation.
Yeah, and like a lot of people didn't want to get a Blu-ray player. They just got a PS3 because for a little bit more, you get a gaming console too.
It was actually cheaper than a lot of the Blu-ray players at the time.
Yeah.
Okay. It wasn't the cheapest one on the market, obviously, because it did other things. But
I also remember the Blu-ray players didn't really do so well in stores. There was so many different types of Blu-ray players, so many different things that they potentially could do, although all they did was just play these movies. Yeah. And I remember my dad bought one, and he was so excited about his Blu-ray player, and I was like, okay, Dad, so what are you going to watch on it? We don't even have any Blu-rays. Yeah. And he was like, oh, well, it's cool, it's just to have. And we didn't get a PlayStation 3 or anything like that, but eventually I got an Xbox One, which plays Blu-rays, and I don't have a DVD player, and I don't have a Blu-ray player, but I can still play my movies.
Yeah. It's one of those things that... I think with Blu-rays, the biggest problem was it was still between the time where HD was just becoming like a big thing, and a lot of people still didn't have like super high definition TVs. So it was a lot of people. It was a hard sell to move them there because they needed to buy a new TV so they could really get the most out of their Blu-rays. I mean, a fair number of people would have been able to use them, but not enough to sell technology to a general population. I'm talking out my ass, so I don't know why.
No, I know what you mean, because like when I first got an Xbox 360, I started buying some games. Like I remember I bought Mass Effect. That was like one of my first games. Yeah. And I went to play it, and I literally couldn't read the text because my TV was so garbage. Like I would go up right to the screen, still couldn't read it. I'm like, so I had to just not play my Xbox, or some games, I'm Xbox 360 until I got a new TV. Yeah,
that was me I got my PS3 in like 11th grade, I think. My parents bought it for me because I didn't have a job. I had to play on that shitty, just a shitty CRT TV for the next 2 or 3 years until I got my job and could pay for a TV for myself. And it was hard to play some games where the text was just so tiny.
Well, I remember... when my dad got the Blu-ray player, it was around the same time that he also bought a plasma screen TV, and we went from the giant ass tube TV that we had in the big huge cabinet to this teeny tiny little tiny TV, and I was like, whoa, what happened here? But I also remember playing some of my Xbox 360 games on the tube TVs and having a real hard time trying to read what it said.
Anything you have to read with, that would be terrible.
Definitely. And I remember eventually I just broke down and bought my own TV because my dad was always watching the TV on his new plasma screen, and he would not let me play my games. It just was not happening. So I gave up and I bought my own TV, and I was super proud of myself, but at the same time, it was a lot smaller than his TV. Yeah. But it's so much better than tube TVs.
I think plasma screen's not really great for games anyway. I think they tend to have a larger delay than you'd want. Maybe
I heard that, but at the same time, they also often have lower resolution and a higher power consumption. Because I actually got my dad's plasma TV that he was super proud of 6 months ago.
Oh, yeah.
So going from my nice 1080 smaller TV to his bigger 720 TV, I could easily see the difference. When reading text, I had to squint a little bit. I mean, I'm used to it now, but reading it's a little harder because the games are made for 1080 and the screen doesn't show it, so it was a little more difficult, but at the same time, it's a bigger TV.
Yeah. Fair enough.
So now, we were talking about conventions and whatnot earlier, just before we started here. And some of you guys said that you were going to conventions later this year. Now, you said they weren't your first ones, right?
Right, yeah. So I'm going to the one in our city, Halifax, and that's it's HalCon. I bought my weekend pass. It's sold out now, so I'm glad I got it early. And I've been to all of them. I think this is the 7th or 8th. I've been to all of them, I think. And there was a big change a couple of years ago because they had an issue with fire code and too many people coming. And they made this change 2 years ago. I really, really like, because they moved all the vendors to like this separate arena floor, so there's lots of space in the other room. But what I find lately, the last couple times, is that I haven't really been going to the con for guests. Like last year, I think I went to one panel at last year's HalCon. And a lot of time I just spend like in the games room and walking around and looking at vendors and playing the games and just meeting people. And honestly, that's the biggest part of it for me.
So now, have either of you guys been to any conventions before, or?
No, not myself. I haven't been to any, but I really want to go to HalCon, but maybe next year.
Buy your tickets early, because the weekend pass is sold out in a week, or less than a week or something.
Well, everything's sold out for HalCon now, even the day passes.
Even all the day passes, even Sunday and Friday?
I think so,
Wow.
yeah. They sold out really quickly.
Yeah, no, I've been to HalCon twice. Once was the horrible nightmare year they had, where everything went wrong. I was there on this Saturday, where there was a lineup of people that just were not going to get in. And I remember there was a lot of anger because initially people were saying that they weren't going to refund people for their tickets.
I remember that.
And they were just like telling people to come back because they sold general day passes. And they were telling people to come back Sunday and just come then because, their pass is still good, which some people can't do. They bought a general day pass and they wanted to come on Saturday. You don't sell general day passes for conventions. It's a terrible idea. Bad.
It really is.
And they learned that lesson. There's a lot of backlash.
Yeah, and the absolute worst thing is I didn't have a pass. I showed up first thing in the morning and paid to get in. So there were people who paid to be there, traveled, and then never got in, and I just walked up and paid at the door first thing in the morning. But, I mean, it was packed. I remember trying to walk through those hallways, and it was just awful. The slow pace. You couldn't get anywhere. Take you 10 minutes to go down a 20-foot hallway.
Yeah, I remember that year, too. I also went, and I remember having to go to the costume contest, which was on Saturday, and I had, or maybe it wasn't the costume contest. Either way, I was wearing a large dress that had a big thing underneath it, so it was like 3 feet in diameter. And I remember one of the security people or volunteers or whoever it was told me that the elevator wasn't available because there were too many people and I had to take the escalator. But the escalator was covered in people anyway. So I was like, well, I'm not going to take the escalator. And that seems like a safety hazard. Are you sure? And it was just a year when everything just really, truly fell apart.
Yeah.
Like, people who left weren't getting back in. People who paid weren't getting in.
Yeah, actually, one of the people I was talking to this year, I don't want to talk too badly about them. They fixed that particular problem.
Oh, they definitely fixed it, yeah.
But,
like you said, they got that whole arena.
Yeah.
So they
way more
easily
safe.
solved that problem.
Yeah, one of the people I was talking to, they'd come down from the States somewhere to come to HalCon because someone they wanted to see was coming to HalCon. Can't remember who. But they came with their girlfriend, and their girlfriend left to go to their hotel, and then came back because she had forgotten something, and she wasn't able to get back into the convention.
Oh, no.
And it was just like, oh my god. On the other hand, I went last year, and I had a decent time. I went to 2 convention panels. One of them was worth my while. The other one, wish I hadn't gone. But, that happens. You pick your panels. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not.
And they recently introduced fan panels as well.
Okay.
Which is great, because a couple of years ago, the only panels that they would allow were panels done by guests.
Oh, wow.
So there would be a lot of Q&A, a lot of guests being like, oh, everybody's going to know who I am, so I can have a panel about, like, my life. And, but they'd just be, like, a background actor and a couple of things, and nobody really knew who they were, because HalCon was having, like, 20 guests in their 3-day convention. And so they quickly realized that those weren't exactly the best idea. So they started getting fan panels. So now you have a lot of other stuff. Like, I ran a panel on cosplay. Last year somebody ran a panel on Ruby, the Rooster Teeth show. And there's a lot of other things now. So it's not just guests. So
I will say the one thing I do remember that I've had a good time with the first year I went is I saw Jules Stady, who played Kaylee in Firefly. She was there, and that was fun. I don't know how I actually managed to get into the room, but I did. And I got one of the last few remaining seats. Just happened to, one of my friends had been sitting there, and I didn't see the seat. My friend called to me, and I went and sat with her. My friend, it was a friend of a friend, but regardless, I was in, and I got a seat. So Yeah.
So now, I believe you were talking about some streaming services like YouTube and such and how they've changed, and you wanted to talk about that.
Yeah.
So, you haven't gotten a chance to talk too much, so let's make this your time to shine here.
No, shoot. Are you guys familiar with AdSense on YouTube?
Yeah.
The way that YouTubers are getting paid and whatnot.
Yeah.
The past few months, they completely abolished the whole system, changed everything. YouTubers are getting upset and they're needing to go to other sources to get paid, like starting Patreons, GoFundMes, and all that, because people are simply just not getting paid enough, you know? Like, they're used to getting paid more, they got this lifestyle they're used to living, and now it's just not cutting it. And me, myself, I'm just starting up YouTube myself, started early last month. So I got a little bit of views, quite a bit of views. So I checked my AdSense, and it was like all zeros, and I was like, I was expecting like maybe like a few cents, yay, right?
Yeah.
And then I checked, and it was like all zeros, and I was like, that's not right.
I thought I heard recently that they required you to get 10,000 views total in your channel before you can even start to earn money. I think that was one of the changes they made.
Yeah, but it still generates it beforehand.
Oh, okay.
It's like you can still see that, and even so, before you can even get your money, you have to gain $100 worth before it's worth for them to give that to you.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that to help prevent like the spammers and stuff like that, and the like just people who upload like movies and stuff like that, where they re-upload them, and there are these channels where you can find full-length movies, usually of older movies, and they just re-upload those, and they run ads throughout the movie, and that's just so scummy. So scummy.
Oh, yeah.
But that's what that's there for.
It really is. But they also changed how they put things on recommendeds.
Oh, yeah?
Because I noticed that every single thing on my recommended, if it's not like some weird anime video that for some reason is like 8 years old but still there, I have no idea why these keep popping up. But they're all clickbait. Every single one of them are clickbait.
I haven't found that. I found that I get a lot of videos recommended for me that I've already watched, and I'm just like, why are you
I
recommending
get
this
those
for
from
me
time
again?
to time
That's
too.
the worst.
It'll have that little red bar to show where you've watched to, and it'll be the whole way. It's like, all right.
Watch it again, please.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they have a whole other category for that.
Yeah,
They
there's
can
a
stick it
category
down
for
there.
watch it again. Yeah, they don't need to do that.
No.
I heard too also they changed the way that they demonetize it for sponsors. So it used to be you would look at a video in your settings or whatever, and it would say, oh, this video is monetized or demonetized, and that was it. But now I heard that they basically have your video tagged with certain like labels, and when an advertiser goes to advertise on YouTube, they would say, okay, I don't want my ad showing up on this type of video. So what would happen is a lot of advertisers would say, oh, I don't want this on offensive or language or political videos, right? So you would go to your video, and the ads could basically not play in your video, but it would still technically be monetized. But the level which is monetized would vary depending on what the ad people have decided they want their commercials shown on, right? So technically, you're still making money, but your ad's not playing on all these different companies' commercials.
Yeah, because there's different tiers of advertisers that they have coming in, and if you have a simple tag on your video, that's ticks off one of their things, you're missing out on those top tier ads.
Right. Yeah.
And
I wasn't sure exactly how it worked, but yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's like it's messing everything up. They're changing a lot of stuff. It's
because it doesn't tell you particularly like when it says it's monetized, it doesn't tell you particularly which things you're violating for different sponsors. It just doesn't show their ads, right?
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't warn you or anything. Like this tag is like it doesn't warn you or anything.
Right.
Yeah, and another thing, the restricted mode that they gets introduced makes it so a lot of you can make your video like for an older audience, right? So that would make it so like once you check that, all the ads get cut off practically.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So, like, if somebody went on YouTube and they didn't have, like, an account or anything like that to show their age, because everybody's YouTube account is linked to their Gmail, which has their birth date, right?
Yeah.
So now, if I went on YouTube and logged out of my YouTube account, my Gmail and whatnot, would I even be able to see these restricted videos?
No, you wouldn't be able to. It would tell you to log in on an account to prove your age, and if your account doesn't reach 18, you're out of luck.
Wow. That is a big change, because I remember watching videos. One particular was about an anime, and the name says it all. It was called Panty and Stocking with Garter Belt. And I remember I didn't have any issues watching the videos, even when I wasn't logged in, which I thought was kind of weird, but at the same time, I was like, whatever, I don't care. This is less work for me.
Yeah.
But anyways, I think it's about time to wrap up here. We're getting about to our usual time length. So if anybody doesn't have anything else to say.
Oh, and actually, I didn't know you had a YouTube channel, but if you want to take it, we don't have an audience yet because it's our second episode, but if you want to pimp out your YouTube channel, this might be a good chance.
Oh, yeah. Get me at YouTube at dwighthm, no spaces, no capitals. Look that up.
All right,
Yeah.
we'll put that in our description or something.
Yeah.
So if anybody's interested, they can check out your YouTube and whatnot. I'm Miki.
Nathan?
Matt?
Dwight.